Welcome, here I've got Samsung Galaxy S21 and I'm gonna show you how to use the camera Pro mode at this device. So let's start by tapping on the camera button to open it, and for now we are in the standard photo mode. Let's change it by using this settings bar and just simply going to the right to more here. Here we have access to other modes of this camera, and now let's pick the Pro mode. So here we are. This mode gives us possibilities to choose some shooting parameters by ourselves. This is useful when we want to learn photographic skills or making experiments with photography. So let me start with this settings bar here. Let's go from the right. The first one button with standard here gives us access to a few other buttons we can manage about our picture. So now from the left we can adjust the contrast. By using this slider and going to the right we can make our photo more contrasted. By going to the left we can make it less contrasted. At the center we have 0, so now we are again on the auto settings with the contrast. The next one button here from the left allow us to control the highlight, so the parts of our picture that are in light. By going to the right we can make them more lighted. By going to the left we can make them less lighted. At the center of course we have 0 parameters, so now we are again on auto highlight. The next one button here at the center allow us to control the shadows of our picture. So by going to the right we can make them more intense. By going to the left we can make them less intense, as you can see. And of course at the center again we have 0 parameter. The next one button here allow us to control the saturation of the colors at our picture. So by going to the right we can make them more saturated, as you can see. And when we go here on the slider to the left we go into kind of black and white view. And of course at the center we go back to the auto saturation. The next one button here is the tint. So by going to the right or left we can control kind of balance between the pink, as you can see, and the green light. And all of these parameters together allow us to create some kind of filter to our picture. And this is really useful and cool here because all of these parameters usually are adjusted after taking the photos in graphic programs. And here we can do it before, so I think this is really pro thing here. Now let's go back to this settings bar and to the second button from the right with the white balance. Here we can adjust the temperature of our picture in Kelvin degrees. As you can see we have this slider. By going to the left we can make our photo more cold. By going to the right we can make it more warm. And of course there's no problem to go back to the auto white balance. We can do it by tapping on manual here button from the right, and now we are on the auto. The next one button here is the AF from autofocus. By using this slider we can change it to MF, to manual focus, and now we can easy focusing like that, as you can see. And of course we can go back to the autofocus by tapping again to the manual. And let's move to this button with the exposure compensation, so we can manage here the light of our picture. By going to the right we can make it more bright. By going to the left we can make it more dark. And at the center here we have 0 parameters, so now we are on the auto exposure compensation. Now let's move to the next one button. Here we have the shutter speed, so we can adjust the time of taking picture, and by going to the left we can make it more short, from 1/12,000 of second. This is really short time, and this should be definitely better to objects, for example, that are in move, to frozen them at the picture with the good light. By going to the right on the slider we can go to 30 seconds of taking picture, and this is really long. This should be better to objects that are stable. And of course by tapping on the manual from the right we can easily go back to the auto parameter here, so the device suggests us that now the best possible shutter speed is 1/50 of second. Let's move to the next one button, the ISO. Here we can adjust the camera's sensitivity to light. We can make it less sensitive from 50 and by going to the right, more sensitive to 3 and 2000 of it. So this is also white choice and really profing here in this camera. And together ISO and the shutter speed are kind of parameters that are the exposure compensation. So as you can see, we can use the ISO and the exposure compensation together, but when we adjust the shutter speed manually, this is locked. So remember about this, that you don't have to use this when you use this too, because these together are kind of light managing also. And after managing all of these settings, we don't have to go separately to the auto. We can slide to the left a little bit, and here we have the reset button. So when we tap here, all of this goes back to the auto settings, and this is really cool thing here. Now let's move to the right corner to this button. When we tap here, we can pick the area of the focusing. Now we are on the center, and another tab to go to the multi. So this is how to change this. The second button from the right here is also useful. We can adjust here the metering. We are on the center weighted metering. We have also matrix metering and the spot metering. And also when we tap at the center of our picture, as you can see, we have this ring with AF and AE from autofocus and auto exposure compensation. And when we tap here once again, we can separate this, and as you can see, we can pick the metering of the focusing here and the exposure compensation, for example, here. So this is a tool that automatically helps us to taking better photos with better focusing and exposure compensation. And of course, when we tap here once again, it goes back together. Now let's move to this button in the left corner. When we tap here, we can open the advanced camera settings. Most of them, as you can see, is locked because we are in the Pro mode, not in the standard mode, but I want to show you one thing. In the pictures category, format and advanced options. When we tap here, we get access to this option, rough copies. So by using this button, we can turn it on and turn it off. And this option gives us pictures in JPEG and the RAW together. So RAW format is used by professional photographers to taking pictures with more details and post-producing them in graphic programs. So this is really profing here, and good to know that we have this. Now let's go back to the camera and let me use these settings to take a picture. Let's start with standard, so maybe more contrasted picture, more highlights and shadows also. Let's make it more saturated also, and maybe let's go to the green light. Then let's pick the white balance, maybe more blue. Focusing, let's stay on the auto, and then let's ignore the exposure compensation and use the shutter speed. Maybe here, and the ISO here. And to see the picture, let's move to the left to this button. When we tap here, we get quick access to the gallery, and this is how it looks like. Thanks for watching, subscribe our channel and leave the thumbs up.